Preview. I can't do this. All right, I'm gonna start over. I'm going to start. I gotta. Actually, I can't do this. I really can't. I'm going to. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of my intricate and in-depth shadow work series called Real Monsters. I hope that they came through, because the way I held that note, the way I hit and held that note though, and that crescendo going too, like, duh, wait, you can't tell me nothing, okay? No, I'm being silly and I'm trying to get myself together, because this episode is actually going to be a really, really heavy one for me. It's actually going to be really hard for me. And because of that, I do have notes. And I just want to warn you all that I am definitely going to be crying during this topic matter, okay? Subject matter. And I'm gonna be drinking. I probably drink all my cocktail. I usually do not drink all of my cocktail during these episodes, but I think this episode is gonna be one of those episodes where I finish my cocktail. It's that intense, y'all. It's heavy for me, okay? It took me forever, like, to try to, like, even do my intro. Like, I've spent over 45 minutes trying to get this episode together. Like, when I say trying to get it together, like, I started it and I felt myself getting, like, super emotional, stopped, and all of that good stuff. So I'm just going to, I had to take a breather. I had to restart, but I am going to get through this, okay? But I just needed to let you guys know that I am definitely emotional in regards to this topic matter, this subject matter. So I am going to probably cry during this episode. Again, this is a heavy one for me, and we're touching on some really sensitive shit here. So that's your warning. So trigger warning. We'll be talking about things that may trigger your past experiences, and we'll be touching on sexuality. So some of this stuff is, like, really still fresh. And therefore, I've had to meditate and write some things out. So again, yes, I am looking at my notes. I have to get it out, and I have to speak on my experiences and the things that have happened. And the reason why I have put notes in front of me is because, again, I know that I'm going to be crying. I know that this is going to be emotionally strenuous for me, but I want to stay focused. I want to get out what I need to get out. And I don't want my emotions to stronghold the episode. I don't want my emotions to take over the episode, okay? So to keep myself focused, to keep myself on the straight and narrow, and to really get out what I know that I need to get out, I have notes. That's just is what it is, okay? Also, I am letting you know that this topic matter, the subject matter, is most likely going to be done over the span of, like, a couple of episodes. I'm trying to just make it 2 episodes. I'm hoping it's not going to be 3, I'm trying to make it just 2 episodes, so please bear with me because I need to get everything out. Okay. Again, everything is still fresh, so please, again, bear with me. Just letting you guys know. But I've literally spent my entire life with this man, so it's hard to just put everything in one episode, right? And also, I need to put this out there, because it's public record of who someone marries, I cannot conceal his identity the way that I truly desire to. My truest desire is to conceal his identity the same way that I concealed my sexual assailant's identity in episode 3. However, again, because it is public record of whom you marry, I cannot conceal his identity fully. I still will refrain from saying his name. I will refrain from showing his face. And I will refrain from helping you to identify him in any way. It's actually not my desire for you to identify him at all. I do not condone any hate or violence or negativity towards this man or any community. I do take life and these types of matters serious. Anyway, disclaimer over. This is part of my shadow work, and I understand that this all is part of my shadow work, and it's also what I've been faced with. I also understand that I had to go through what I had to go through in order to be able to help others out there that are in similar situations or finding themselves in similar instances, right? It just sucks for real that I had to go through what I went through. So it's crazy because now it's like I'm shattering the fairy tale that everybody thought I lived. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. But speaking of fairy tales, I mean, that's what you all thought I was living in a fairy tale. It's crazy because you have the rare story of high school sweethearts. We got together in the 9th grade, been together since the 9th grade, got married, had kids, and, you know, living happily ever after, right? Crazy part is that, and I hate to even say this, but this is shadow work, and I gotta tell my unadulterated truth, but him and I are actually still married, okay? Legally, we are still married. And I don't have a feeling that I'm not gonna say I don't have a feeling. I know we're not gonna be married for long because I am taking the steps that I need to dissolve the situation. But this series is not gonna help matters at all. And I'm okay with that. But Cat Williams warned y'all niggas that 2024, it was happening. Okay? Anyway, so I convinced myself that I was living a fairy tale just like y'all thought I was living the fairy tale. And that is until I had like one of many spiritual awakenings. And through this spiritual awakening, I had a conversation with God, and God was like, he's to the point where enough is enough. Like, he's telling me enough is enough. He no longer wanted me to suffer, and he no longer wanted me to allow turmoil in my life. He no longer wanted me to, or he no longer wanted to put it in front of me. Like, he was just tired. He's like, look, girl. But anyway, let's get into it, okay? So again, I met my ex in the 9th grade. My best friend at the time, she told me that there was a guy in her class that had a crush on me because he seen us come off the bus together one day, and he asked her who I was. She told him I was her best friend, blase skip. And he told her that I was going to be his woman and that he was going to marry me. And he was right. So I saw him in the hallway after she had already told me all of this. I saw him in the hallway one day. It was either before or after his basketball practice. I believe it was before his basketball practice. And he had his hair out. And I had never seen his hair out you know, again, I never noticed him anyway, because I never noticed him until my best friend said something about him, right? So I never noticed his hair, never noticed him, never noticed his hair. Wish it stayed that way, but here we are. So my first words to this man was, "Aw," as I'm reaching out to touch his hair. "Aw, you look like a girl." No, he had a lot of hair back then, but like I said, I knew that he had a crush on me, but like he acted like he wasn't ever gonna like say anything. He wasn't gonna speak or anything like that. So like I had to take matters into my own hands, which I did. And I didn't know what to say to him at that moment, because, you know what I'm saying, you trying to find something to say. So that's just what came out. That's what I said to break the ice. So yeah, but anyway, it worked. And we started talking. He had a girlfriend at the time, and I was with a boy that stayed in Calvert County, so he was across the bridge. So that's why he never really acted on his crush. He just talked shit. Until I said what I said to him in the hallway, and then he was like, "Oh, she was talking to me now? Okay, cool." Now there were many red flags surrounding this nigga, and I really wish that I paid attention to them. I paid attention to them. I saw them, and I was just like, "Oh, we can color that a different color. Let's put some blue on it. Make it pop." So that's the churchy foundation in me. You know what I'm saying? And unknowingly, but kind of knowingly, and I think I kind of feel like this is important. I was unknowingly, but kind of knowingly tapping into my spiritual gifts and things like that. Because remember, I've always talked to spirit. I don't know if you know, but I've always been able to talk to spirit, but I just didn't know exactly what to call it. I didn't know to call it clairaudience and being able to see them as clairvoyance. Like I've been able to see them, I've been able to talk to them and hear them, just never been able to have an official term for what that was. I never knew, right? So, and most of the time, no, I kept that shit to myself, period. I kept my gifts to myself, for real. But anyway, back to the story. So I was upon the United Nations of red flags. Shout out to Risa Tisa for that, because that shit is actually a real thing, okay? That's actually a real thing. I've experienced it, okay? So I'm in front of the United Nation of red flags, right? This man came from a toxic household. We kind of went over this, we went over this last episode. He came from a toxic household. He was raised by his grandparents. His mom scooped him up, brought him to Florida when she moved and got married, should I say, scooped him up, moved him to Florida. They were a military family, and that's how he ended up here in Maryland, at Pax River, because he was down in St. Mary's, down in Pax. So that's how he ended up in my area. Again, he hated his mother. He really didn't care for or get along with his stepfather either. His biological dad was living at a distance, and his biological dad was living his life with his wife, my ex's stepmother, who he wholeheartedly didn't really care for. Yeah. So honestly, there wasn't much that, you know, his biological father could do for him, with him being at such a distance or whatever. But it just honestly sucks that he ended up being the product of his environment, that he fought so hard and vocalized that he didn't want to be in his adult years. He ended up being that. Honestly, I don't think he sees that shit. I really wish that he could see it, but I don't think he sees it. But look at what healed eyes can do for you, right? Okay. His family life was tumultuous, and you cannot blame him for that. His mom was and is something out of a ghetto. His mom is and was something out of a ghetto-ass novel made into a movie, brought into real life. Okay, his stepfather was selfish and narcissistic. And again, he's grown up since, but he still loves himself deeply, and it shows. But again, he still has grown up. Back to my ex. I used to call him Cinderfella because, of course, his mom had him doing everything around the house, cleaning, especially after the dog. She would let the dog shit and piss in a room that she called the dog's room. It was actually the laundry room, but she was the dogs in there. She would let him shit, piss, and do whatever, and he would have to clean all of that shit up. But again, there was some real red flags and stuff within the home and the family dynamics that I really should have paid closer attention to and ran away from. But it's also important for y'all to understand that he didn't have the best upbringing, so he also deserves some empathy and compassion, right? However, again, if you talk to him, you know that he knows right from wrong. So he knows how to be morally upstanding. And he talks to people about being morally upstanding, but he couldn't take his own goddamn advice. Like, it's fucking crazy. So again, he comes along during the teenage years of my parents' episodes. If you see my parents' episode, you realize that he comes along in the teenage years of that episode. And I'm just trying to add context, trying to make the bigger picture, all like the smaller pictures all fit into the bigger picture frame. Everything is, I'm tying everything together now, right? Okay. So there were many red flags throughout the relationship. There were also different situations with females that he would put me in, but would not defend me. This was honestly throughout our entire relationship, throughout the entirety of our relationship. He would talk to and flirt with females, and they'd have some type of situation, and it was honestly based off of being inappropriate with one another. It was a situation that a man or a woman should never find themselves in. And honestly, this is just, I ain't gonna say this is just talking, but these are situations that a man or woman who are in a relationship should not find themselves in, basically, okay? They would swear that they're only friends and that I'm the issue because she clearly knows about me and different things like that. Especially when I would bring up that I had a problem with the dynamic, and then these motherfuckers would play in my face and he would act like I'm delusional, right? So that is another red flag, and I really should have ran from him then. But you're in high school, you're kids, you're not really in that adult grown-up mindset. So I didn't know, I didn't really know that this is not conducive to what I should be involving myself in. Now I did have moments where I was on some get back shit. I told you I'm going to take accountability. I had some moments where I was on some get back shit, and I cheated too. I hurt him. I did. I hurt him too. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to act like that I was an angel. I was on some tit for tat shit. Like, for real. Like, I had enough. It was to the point where you're playing in my face enough with these bitches where, okay, I'm going to start playing in yours. Okay? Shouldn't have been tit for tat, but it was. Okay? When I got locked up behind him because I found him in the bed with another bitch that he swore he wasn't fucking with at the time, and he was still fucking me. Like, y'all, raw, okay? But anyway, I got locked up because I beat her ass and I beat his ass. But I beat her ass because that's what she asked for, okay? I didn't beat her ass because he was cheating on me with her. I beat her ass because that's what the fuck she asked for, okay? She wanted to have words on Facebook, and I'm one of those ones, I'm not big on words, okay? Big on receipts, big on it's up when I see you, but I'm not real big on arguing back and forth. I'm not real big on going back and forth over social media. It's just not me, right? So she wanted to have words on Facebook, and I told her that I wasn't for a bunch of talking. She popped her shit real hard on Facebook over the course of a few months, but that's another story. We'll do a story time on that, okay? But anyway, he played in my face, literally. Mind you, he was fucking her, okay? Fucking her, fucking me at the same time, and claiming that he was not messing with this bitch, okay? This nigga played in my face for 11 years after I got locked up in regards to that situation. 11 fucking years he played in my face about that fucking situation that I got locked up behind. He still maintained that he wasn't messing with her. He maintained all of his lies. Not messing with her, never had sex with her, until 11 fucking years later. Mind you, I've asked this man several times over the course of those 11 years to tell me the truth. I've given him passes, I've given him outs during these types of conversations to tell me the fucking truth. And one of the reasons why I did that is because honestly, y'all, I know what the fuck I know. I'm fucking psychic, yo. Like, I know what the fuck I know. You cannot get over on me in that regard. Like, no, my nigga, like, okay. Anyway, you're gonna hear me bring that up in the episodes after that, because I have an episode with our counselor that will be dropping behind this one, just like it dropped behind the episode with my son, just to verify and validate everything that I'm saying. I'm not about to play with my receipts, okay? Now, I told y'all, I don't know if you follow me on social media or not, but I told y'all when I pop the fuck out and say what the fuck I gotta say, I really say that shit. I really mean everything that I fucking say. I really say that shit. I do not talk just to fucking talk, okay? I don't talk just to talk, all right? I don't waste my breath. I don't waste my energy. You seen in the last episode, that shit was under 30 minutes because I don't have the energy for who and what I don't have the energy for. That's just me, all right? Back to this nigga. I took care of this nigga wholeheartedly. I took care of him financially, our entire relationship. I mean, literally from day one, I convinced my mom to pay for his driving school, senior dues, even to get a tooth pulled, all before him and I even began living together. And that tooth pull was $1,200. She was expecting that money back. She ain't never get that shit back. $1,200 for him to get that one tooth pulled. Okay? All before we even living together. Once we began living together, I covered most of the bills. As you can see, and I'm going to insert some pages for you guys, but as you can see here, I kept a log when we first moved. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I kept a log of the expenses, the household expenses when we moved. And again, I've inserted them so that you can see these. These are the start of the receipts. And the reason why I inserted these is because he initialed at the bottom of each of these receipts in agreement that these spreadsheets were true and indeed factual. I'm not gonna lie on this man, okay? He, as you can see on these sheets, at the bottom of these sheets, initialed to acknowledge that everything on this, acknowledge and agree that everything on these sheets were true and factual. I've always been a smart girl, and I move the way that God tells me to move, which is why I have so many receipts. So you can see that I paid the mortgage, electric, water, groceries, and I was fully and solely responsible for our son. Any and everything he needed, I was responsible for our son by myself, with the assistance of my parents and my village. And as you noticed in my son's episode, I did not talk about his father being present. He was present in the household, but he was not a present parent. And I stated that. Okay? When I say across the board financially, everything financially I took care of. He never gave me a dime towards Christmas, towards our son's Easters, towards our son's birthdays, nothing. Until he knew that I was fed up with the relationship, that's when he started to pitch in. Okay? After he knew that I was fed up with the relationship and that I was on my way out, he started helping. He may have thrown a few dollars my way here and there, but it's honestly not enough to cover an entire birthday for our son to date. I couldn't afford daycare and to cover my entire household. And at that time, when we moved, I was only making $33,000 annually. $33,000 a year. Only $33,000 a year, and I'm taking care of our entire household on $33,000 a fucking year. Crazy work. Now, he did pay our car insurance, and I'm not gonna lie that it was high because I did have a lot of tickets. So our car insurance was about $300 some odd, okay? So yes, car insurance was relatively high because I had quite a few tickets, okay? It was like 3 or 4 something, all right? But our house was old and the electric was so janky that sometimes I was faced with bills as high as almost $600. And I have screenshots here to show you that as well. Okay, these are the receipts right here from my bank statements. So you can see that I go back as far as 2016 in those bank statement screenshots, okay? The winter months were actually really brutal for me in regards to the electric bill. You can pause to see the receipts and stuff as I pull them up or whatever to see them closely, but I'm gonna keep moving, okay? So, and he also paid the cable bill and our phone bills, okay? So he paid insurance, car insurance, cable, and our phone bills. Never helped me with electric, never helped me with water, mortgage, none of that shit. And anything, groceries, he ate, but he didn't help me pay for them. Anything that happened in this house that needed to be worked on or done, I paid for myself, okay? Paid for all repairs, all of that shit. If anything happened with my car, the upkeep, the maintenance on my car, I paid for, okay? So he paid, like I said, insurance, cable, and phone, right? We each paid our own car payments or any loans that we had by ourselves until after we got married, okay? So you guys, can you see, like literally, can you see how much masculine energy that I'm fucking sitting in this dynamic that I've explained? Like, it never shifted. Like, I'm in such masculine energy. I'm paying for everything. I'm taking care of the household. I'm head of the household. I am sitting in entirely too much masculine energy. There's no room in any way for me to really be feminine, but I bring it out anyway, okay? And mind you, the dynamic never changed, okay? It just never changed. Again, until I got fed up with the relationship and he knew I was on my way out. That's when he wanted to start putting in effort, okay? I begged him to help me throughout the years. Not only was I financially carrying the burden, but again, I was the only one doing for our son with the help of my family. I was the one taking him to all of his activities, games, practices, trainings, recitals, practices for, drum practice because he was playing the drums. Everything that my son had going on, I took him to. I was responsible for, okay? Sometimes I travel anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes away, one way, 3 or more times a week for my son's football trainings. 3 or more times a week for my son's football trainings. My son was training 6 days a week at one point in different areas, right? So I was the one who was taking him to all of these trainings everywhere. He was in Virginia, he was in St. Mary's, he was in Charles County, he was in PG County, up in Marlboro. Like everywhere that he had to go, I had to take him. I took him. I was responsible for him. Birthday parties, after school activities, at the school, and outside of the school, community events, taking him to the park, taking him to different places to have fun and explore, chorus concerts, Sunday school activities, in and out of the church. Everything that my son had going on, my son's entire life. My life revolved around my son's life, okay? So anything that my son, any and everything that my son had going on, I was the one that made sure that he got there and he got everything that he needed. Again, my dad, my mom, my sister, my aunts, and my child's godparents stepped up and showed out tremendously for me when I was spreading myself too thin or could not work things out to do what needed to be done for him. That is my village. I did not and could not rely on his father or his father's side of the family. Now, I will say that his father's mother did get him a few times and would, have him spend the night at her house and things. But that's because she had a son that was 18 months younger than my child. My son, some of the time, was a babysitter, just like she used her oldest son, just to stay home so she could go out and they could have each other to watch each other, keep each other, right? Okay. But it got to the point, honestly, where my family and myself, we learned to operate as if my husband was not an option. And honestly, we stopped considering him as an actual option. Like, we knew not to ask. Like, literally everybody knew not to ask. Everybody knew not to say, well, where's his dad? How come his dad can't? Everybody knew he's just don't ask. This was actually really hard on me because I had so much that I was still trying to accomplish on top of being head of household and paying all the bills, being submissive to a man that I should not have been submissive to. We'll get into that. Catering to him, being an exceptional mother, being a great wife, being a great daughter, church member, mentor, because I was getting into mentoring and stuff. I was mentoring people. I got everything done that I set out to accomplish because of the grace of God and God's grace and mercy and my motivation and determination and drive. But damn, y'all, still like I shouldn't have had to go through all of that. So now, can you see the breakdown of our relationship? How it was destined to crumble because it was literally solely on my shoulders. I broke. I didn't bend. I fucking broke. This man played on my mental. He played on my heartstrings. He made me think that I was delusional, making assumptions, and that I was just accusing him of stuff because I was crazy. He made everyone around us think that I was mean and I was this crazy ass bitch who he loved so much, and that's why he stayed. Fuck no. That nigga honestly hated me, not loved me. He loved the cozy life that I gave him. No, my first house was small and old and wasn't much, but I made it a fucking home. And when I say my first house, I say my first house because the house that I'm in, although it's on the same property, this is not the same house. This is not the same dwelling. The entire structure that used to be the house that him and I shared is gone completely, down to the fucking foundation. Gone. I loved him through all of the shit that he did to me. And when I say I loved him through all of the shit that he did to me, I loved him through all the lies, through all of the mental games, through all of the financial hardships, through all of the cheating, through him not showing up for me in any capacity, but yet using me as a trophy, and some would say his beard. This was full on depression. This was full on, I've lost myself in somebody else. This was full on, I have no idea who I am anymore. This was a problem. Me, not anybody else, dug myself in so deep over the years, trying to prove that I was actually worthy of him. That I was actually worthy to him. I'm gonna get there. Hold on. I was trying so hard to prove that I was worthy of his love because I just wanted him to love me the way that I loved him. I love him so deeply. So deep. And it got so bad, y'all. Like, it literally got so bad that I would post stuff on social media and play him up like he was such an incredible father and husband and this great man. All the while, the things that I was saying in my post, the stuff that I was posting was what I was really wishing that he could be or would be for me. It's like I was trying to show him, I was trying to give him examples of what I needed, what I desired, what I wanted, how I needed to be loved, and he just didn't care. I would post about literally any small thing that he did, and I would post about it, and I would make it like it was so fucking grandiose. Literally, he just gave me the bare minimum. He treated me like a bottom of the barrel bitch. And I gave him all of me. Financially, I gave him literally all of my money, all of my time, all of my energy, anything that I could. And I played him up, and he wasn't even anything fucking close to what I used to say that he was doing or what he was on social media. The times where I would say, or I would tell y'all what he did for our son is because I wanted more. I wanted more of that. I needed more of that. I needed the help. And I felt like if I praised him enough, that he would actually want to do it on his own and feel good about doing it. But I did it, and I posted and things because honestly, y'all, I was trying to manifest it. Like, that's literally, my heart hurts because that's what my heart truly longed for. It's what I wish y'all could feel the pain I'm feeling right now. My chest hurts. But I posted that because that's what I truly love. I'm gonna cut this short, or I'm gonna cut it soon. I wanted love. I wanted appreciation. I wanted gratitude. And at that time, I wanted validation. I was validating you, but I wasn't getting what I needed. I wanted validation. I so desperately needed validation. I needed to know. I needed affirmation. I wanted to feel beautiful. I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel adored. I wanted to feel cherished, and I didn't. And I fought so hard. I fought so hard for that. I literally did. I fought hard for that. I wanted a soft life. Oh, my heart. I wanted a soft life, but I was trapped in so much masculinity, so much masculine energy. But you know what? I take full responsibility and accountability for that. I have no choice but to. You know what, y'all? I think, honestly, this is going to have to be my stopping point. And we're going to have to pick things up in the next episode because my chest is truly hurt. Like, my chest truly hurts. So I'm going to end it here. Oh! I knew this. I tried to be strong. I really did. Thank you all for joining me for this episode so that you can see, the beginning of the end. Okay? Thank you all again for joining me. I apologize for the breakdown at the end. I tried to hold it together. I tried to hold myself together. I'm so sorry. And I know that what's coming up in part 2, hopefully it doesn't, and it doesn't lead me to be like this. I know it might, it probably will, because I'm still dismayed and just in awe of what is going to be revealed in part 2. So again, thank you for joining me. I gotta go, y'all. My chest is killing me. I gotta go. I will see you guys. I really hope I can calm myself down, so that this stops. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for joining me. Bye. Oh, girl, you are so strong. You're gonna get through it. You can do this. You can do this.